So let me ask you a question. Would you be surprised if there was a Nintendo Direct in April? I think most people wouldn't be terribly surprised if that happened, mostly because there's still some information we need for games that are coming up that probably wouldn't be best given at E3, mostly because of the proximity of those games to E3. So, as an example, we need release dates for something like Mario Maker 2. Now, that's going to fall into probably the same area that Mario Tennis Aces released, right? Probably like a week, maybe after E3, somewhere in there. Basically, I think on the back half of June is when they'll release that. Like, it'll be, I'm sure, playable at E3. They'll probably have it in the treehouse and things like that. But I don't think they'd give us a release date like 2 weeks out. And I think that, coupled with a few other things, is really leading into the speculation, I believe, of a Direct in April. But I don't know if there are very solid sources backing this as much as there are speculation backing this. And I'm going to kind of talk to you about that a bit. And I'm also going to let you in on, I guess, a bit of a secret as to how we had a Direct, for example, seemingly leaked out from sources in September of last year. It's been a while. I figure it doesn't really matter as much now to give you a bit of insight on how these things kind of leak at times. So what is happening here? Because the rumor has essentially started up. Now, if you remember, we had a general direct, because we just got done an indie direct almost 2 weeks ago, a general direct in February. And immediately after that ended, maybe a few days after actually, of course, the conversation shifted to when is the next direct going to happen? That seems to be the thing constantly. It's always about what's next, and I think that has a lot to do with gaming news becoming basically 24 hours now, right? Like, basically there's news dropping pretty consistently. Whether it's people online making headlines, like people who are playing the games, whether they're doing speed runs or companies putting out press releases at all hours of the night, it happens a lot. So we have turned into a 24-hour news cycle for games, and I think that is why people are always looking for the next big announcement, because they happen pretty much constantly at this point. So the Direct allegedly is rumored to be happening in April. We are now in April. It's April 1st. You've probably even seen the April 1st Directs go up as April Fool's Day jokes. This would be an actual Direct that Nintendo would look to incorporate as a general Direct that would kind of lead them into E3, mostly to get information out, I would assume, for release dates for something like Super Mario Maker 2, for something like Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3. Even Hellblade still has a spring 2019 release date. I also know that I think most people even have seen it, that there is a Wii U port apparently of something like a Pikmin 3 that's been talked about a lot, that's allegedly going to be announced this year. And that would have to happen soon if they're going to be launching it possibly before E3 even. It's a Wii U port. They could do it then. They could do it later on in the year. It could be the beginning of next year like they did with New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe. But there are things that Nintendo will probably want to have E3 ready for, rather than deal with things like release dates for some of these games. Just to be honest, there are some things that are really starting to kind of cook in the background that is going to be really fun to see at E3. And I feel like some of these announcements, they can get out of the way ahead of time. So this rumor has started. I think this is where it started from, because we've had some other things that we'll go over. But this is from, as you can see here, Nintendo Soup coverage of Sabi, who actually said there are reports about a spring direct next month. The Nintendo of America contact I know heard this from another ambassador. So it's a Nintendo of America contact that's heard from another person. Same sources write about the starters on Pokemon Day. So they've heard about a direct from Nintendo of America. Now, Nintendo of America is usually told by, obviously, the Japan headquarters for Nintendo about getting one of these together and everything, as pretty much all decisions come from them. For the most part, generally Nintendo America handles things like localizations and things like that, and relations with Western companies. Those kind of things are what Nintendo America deals with. So, of course, from there, not much longer, actually, I think a day or two later, we then see Gaming Intel, who who also chimed in saying that the next Direct will take place April 2019. And this was from March 31st. So yesterday, this went up. And I look at this, and Gaming Intel is an interesting site. So they also put this out on Twitter. Generally, you want to try to break these rumors and news and stuff, obviously for traffic, right? If you're a website, generally you run on ads and you need traffic for those ads to get you money and everything. We all understand that's why a lot of big news organizations, whether it's, MSNBC, CNN, Fox, whoever, try to break news so then their stuff gets picked up and it circulates and their name's everywhere. It's common. So they say that a source, which I've been in communication with for a while now, has told me there is a Nintendo Direct planned for April. I can go into detail right now, but this source has been correct on previous Nintendo Direct announcements and dates. I'll be in touch nearer the time to give you some further details. So this is them lending some backing to an April Direct. Now, I look at Gaming Intel, and I'm never really sure about their actual sources, how good they are. Now, here's the thing. When people put out rumors, leaks, and stuff, they are usually putting them out with the idea that they might be wrong because things change behind the scenes, or information gets lost somewhere in transit, or information is put out there sometimes to catch people who are leaking stuff, which is interesting as well to see that. And most people who have done rumors and stuff have been wrong at some point in time. But Gaming Intel kind of comes off to me as a place that seriously reports on like every single rumor they can, like constantly. I mean, just some of the craziest stuff you'd hear about. Then they also go on to tell you about some of the stuff they've had right, whether it's a Direct in January, which was an indie Direct, of course, Smash Brothers Direct in November, which seemed like a pretty safe guess, I think most of us tell you, and then the Direct arriving on September 6, 2018, following a powerful earthquake in Japan. It was, of course, rescheduled to the 13th, so that's actually the one I will give you a bit of a insider knowledge, I guess you'd say, on. So this was actually when they reported that, by the way. September 4th. Nintendo Direct to be taking place very soon. They even named it, right? They were, I think they even named it as September 6th down here. So, yeah, the Direct is September 6th. It's not just for online, since I know Square Enix are showcasing some old games. So let me talk to you a bit about this. The reason this was reported 2 days before, right? And it seemed like there was a mad dash and scramble behind the scenes for this is the reason people knew about this Direct, and I won't say who else, but other people reported on it as well. And I think there was a bit of annoyance behind the scenes too. So ahead of this Direct, a press release went out, and I don't know if it was supposed to have gone out. I think it probably was, but I have to imagine there was an embargo in place for it. A press release went out for a game that was shadow launching that day, and you weren't supposed to say anything about it, obviously. But I noticed some people reported as sources, right? And I made fun of them and stuff for it at times during that time. But sources told them that it's going to be this day at this exact time. And that's because it said it in the press release. And you can go back and look. You might even be able to figure out which game it was. But they needed to reach out and say, hey, you want a review copy? This thing's dropping like this day on the Direct when it happens. And that's why it was reported. And then all of a sudden, there was a mad dash to scramble because, of course, the earthquake was outside of what anyone could control and it had to be pushed. So that was a crazy situation at the time, but that's why a lot of places were reporting on it. That's how the rumor started. That's how people seem so confident in it, because there was a literal press release for it. So I question at time Gaming Intel stuff, but this was pretty solid. Most of us knew about it because of that. So a little insider point there. I guess the secret pun magic trick, even, you'd say. That's what happened. So like we've had, for example, Mario Tennis Aces is around the same time as Mario Maker 2, when we assume it's going to be coming out. That was revealed to us at the beginning / a third of the way through March. So we're already kind of behind on that, and Mario Maker 2 is seemingly going to be bigger. So I assume, as most of us are, that there would be some sort of Direct popping up soonish. I mean, yeah, that's not crazy to think about that. I think it's more us actually like speculating on it and pulling conclusions from something that just makes sense. Now, the other thing, of course, we can all point to is that Joker is supposed to be coming out by the end of April. So this month, he's supposed to be releasing. That doesn't necessarily mean he's going to come out the final day of the month that probably means he's coming out the third week even. I don't know if he'd be a shadow drop. I think he could be releasing around the time of the information supposed to be coming. I think that's April 23rd for Persona 5 The Royal. And of course, we'll find out about Stage, possibly an Echo Fighter / alternate fighter that comes with him, which might be that female character that we've seen. And then we have to learn about Update 3.0. That's supposed to be a stage builder, home run competition. Stage builder might take a little bit of time to show off. They might even want to show off Joker's moveset to a degree and some of the things that make him unique. And then we might go into the next character that's going to be making its way, whether it's Erdrick from Dragon Quest or some other crazy character we haven't even thought about, right? That's something that would probably fit well into a direct. I don't know if they would just have just a Smash Direct because they'd want to give us release dates, I think, as well. So that's kind of the way I look at it. Now, they could do a Smash Direct, and then the other things could be just Twitter posts, right? Like, you could just post Mario Maker's out. You know, Mario Maker 2 is out this day in June. This Friday in June or something. And then, oh, here comes Marvel Ultimate Alliance 2. Marvel could tweet that out or something, you know, coming July, I don't know, first week in July or third week in July or something. Actually, it'd probably have to avoid, it would probably have to avoid what's going on towards the end of July with Wolfenstein and Fire Emblem. So like the first week in July or something like that. So it's possible that could happen, but I think they'd want to build up. Like, they're not just going to say, oh, Joker's out this day and then this new character is coming next on Twitter. That doesn't make any sense. So that's, I think, where a lot of this is coming from. I think it's more of a kind of an obvious thing, but it's being built up obviously now as rumor because we haven't heard from any of the people who are generally dead on. Like King Zell has been very, very much on recently when it comes to this stuff. So if he says anything about a possible date, I mean, named the last one. Zell named the last one straight up. The exact day it was going to happen. So unless Zell says anything about it, I'm hesitant to give it an exact day. Like, some people are saying the 15th. And if I look at, I guess, when that would be, like, when's the 15th? That is 15th is a Monday. I don't think they do it on a Monday. They'd probably do it on, like, what, a Wednesday? That'd be the 17th, maybe the 10th, maybe the 3rd. So I don't think that's a good day for it. But interesting stuff nonetheless. Let me know what you guys think about the idea of an April Direct. There's so much stuff that's supposed to be happening at E3 from what a lot of people are saying right now and kind of going around behind the scenes that I don't think they would want to have all of this stuff showing up there. And I think they'd want to have kind of a spectacle of Joker being released and revealed, because the only thing we've seen is a render from Best Buy, and even that's on accident. And if they have his render to that degree and an ad, they probably already have the marketing. They're probably ready to go. So Nintendo would want to reveal him and then get him out there and launch so they can push their season pass for Smash. So let me know what you guys think about this down below. Make sure you like the video if you liked it, dislike it if not, and I'll see you in the next video.